Hi everyone, welcome to Kindle Bay Church's vlog again today. Today we're continuing to look at Glenn Scrivener's book, Reading Between the Lines, and we're on day 97, which is focusing on Mark 12:13 to 44. And we're given the title, Give to Caesar What is Caesar's, and so I'll just read the chapter out to you. In chess terms, they call it a fork. Your opponent puts you in a position where, whatever you do, you will lose a piece. In Mark 12, Jesus is under attack. Against him is an unlikely alliance of Pharisees and Herodians. They generally despised each other, but they found a common enemy in Jesus. So they gang up to catch Jesus in his words. They ask whether they should pay taxes to Caesar or not. Here is the fork. If Jesus says give, he loses his Jewish support. If he says don't give, the Romans will shut him up before the words leave his lips. Whichever way Jesus jumps, he's in trouble. As we listen in 2,000 years later, we might be asking a similar question. Should we simply obey our secular rulers, or should we completely reject our secular rulers and maintain our spiritual values in opposition to the state? Should we be syncretists, blending in with the world, or should we be sectarians, hiving off from the world? When it comes to the powers of the state, should we blend in or opt out? Well, Jesus is incredible at escaping from the verbal traps laid by his opponents. He says, Jesus knew their hypocrisy. Why are you trying to trap me? He asked. Bring me a denarius and let me look at it. They brought the coin, and he asked them, whose image is this, and whose inscription? Caesar's, they replied. Then Jesus said to them, give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. That's Mark 12:15 to 17. If we give to Caesar what is Caesar's image, we give a coin. But how do we give to God what is God's image? What is God's image? Well, we are, of course. Genesis 1:26. Here the tables are turned on Christ's questioners. They had asked whether their money belongs to Caesar, and Jesus tells them, yes, in a sense, but the better question is, do you belong to God? And apparently, they don't. The real scandal is not that these respectable Jews need to fill out their tax returns. The real scandal is that these respectable Jews need to get right with God, because they're not. Notice, though, that Jesus wants his hearers to pursue both courses. We are to be true citizens of Caesar's state and true members of God's people. And apparently both these things are possible at the same time. Here in this famous phrase is a foundation for the separation of church and state. This teaching has given to Christians a unique approach to the world. Other religious beliefs mingle the spiritual and the secular. Muhammad bore the sword and wielded political power. Hinduism is caught up in the national identity, ditto Sikhism, ditto Judaism. But Jesus says, honour the secular powers. It's okay, you're free. You belong to God, you are God's image. So pay your taxes, respect the state. Your identity is not at stake in these questions of obedience to the state because your citizenship is in heaven. Philippians 3:20. Since this is true, we shouldn't be syncretists, blending in with the world and losing all distinctiveness. We belong to God, and we should never allow Caesar to rob us of those distinctives. On the other hand, we shouldn't be sectarian, hiving on for the rest of society and hunkering down in a little Christian ghetto. We belong to God, and so are free in Christ to engage in the culture as the believer we are. Therefore, if Caesar asks me for the things that belong to him, I can smile, I can obey, because it's only going to be things, possessions, money, a coin with an image on it. That's okay. Caesar can have that. My identity is not in those things. My true identity is that I'm someone who is God's image. Christ has redeemed me, and I belong to him, body and soul. So happily I give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, but only those things, knowing that through Christ I am unshakably one who belongs to God. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you all soon.